This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special. Instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, this is for you, Ted.
Bill Maher isn't done taking shots at Hollywood's woke favorites. Recently, he called out several celebrities for constantly pushing political messages and acting like they know what's best for everyone. In classic Maher style, he tore apart their weak arguments and exposed the hypocrisy behind their so-called moral stands. There's a lot to break down here, so let's get into it.
But there's no getting around the fact that what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Maher started the show by pointing out a harsh truth. The woke crowd loves to idolize its heroes, until those heroes say something that doesn't fit their narrative. Then, suddenly, they're cancelled. J.K. Rowling is the most famous example, but she's not the only one. Elon Musk used to be Silicon Valley's favorite innovator. Joe Rogan was once the progressive voice everyone admired. Even Maher himself was celebrated as a bold liberal voice. But the moment any of them shared an unpopular opinion, the same people who once praised them turned against them. As Maher put it, loyalty in today's culture lasts only as long as you agree with the crowd.
So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I got to tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone. And in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm going to do it right here, right now. And not only that, we're going to do it every year.
So, what is Maher really saying here? He's shining a spotlight on Hollywood's true rebels, the stars who refuse to bow down to cancel culture. These are the people who didn't apologize just to save their careers, didn't delete their opinions, and didn't cave in to online pressure. Instead, they stood firm, spoke their minds, and reminded everyone that free speech still matters. Even in Hollywood's echo chamber, Maher is praising the rare few who stayed true to themselves and didn't trade their integrity for applause. And honestly, in today's world, that kind of courage deserves a standing ovation.
Our first award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollack. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, "No, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your and making you feel wonderful and always right."
If he had the same courage and clarity as Martha Pollack, we'd be raising a generation of strong, independent thinkers grounded in common sense, not ideology. For years, higher education drifted away from that goal. Especially before and during the Trump era, many campuses became breeding grounds for unrealistic ideas that weakened society's moral core. Universities turned into echo chambers where disagreement was punished, conformity was rewarded, and true curiosity gave way to political correctness. But even before that wave hit its peak, voices like Martha Pollack stood firm. She refused to bow to pressure and protected the true purpose of education. That kind of courage is rare today, and it's exactly why she deserves the recognition Maher is giving her.
Thinking of brunch with your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating. So, Cornell, I present you with these balls. I sure could have used them when I was there.
When you really look at the behavior of today's younger generation, it's hard not to be shocked. On one hand, they see themselves as bold, free, and unapologetically expressive, often doing things that would leave their grandparents speechless. But on the other hand, many of these same young people can't handle even the smallest disagreement or joke without getting offended. The contrast is striking. They push boundaries in ways that are often extreme or self-destructive, yet collapse at a simple difference of opinion. The hypocrisy is impossible to ignore, and the irony couldn't be clearer.
Our next award goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition.
I still remember the Trader Joe's story like it happened yesterday. When the Twitter mob came after them, demanding apologies, re-education, and public shame, everyone assumed they'd fold, just like most companies do today. Usually, corporations cave instantly, release long, guilt-filled statements, and scramble to rebrand themselves into oblivion. But Trader Joe's did something different. They refused to give in. They didn't apologize, didn't change their image, and didn't join the cancel culture circus. And you know what? The world didn't fall apart. Sales didn't crash. Life went on, proving that standing your ground still works.
Had a life and a sense of humor and released this statement. We disagree that any of these labels are racist, and we do not make decisions based on petitions. You see how easy it is? So to the home of the 19-cent banana, here, have some nuts.
Trader Joe's truly deserves credit for standing firm against the so-called woke mob. At a time when most companies panic the moment social media turns against them, Trader Joe's proved that courage still matters, and it still pays off. Their decision to stay true to themselves is a powerful reminder that anyone can push back and still win. The truth is, the mob isn't as powerful as it looks. It's not an unstoppable force, just a small group of loud voices shouting into the void, especially on Twitter. Once you recognize that, their influence disappears. Trader Joe's showed everyone exactly how to handle it, with confidence, not fear.
This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special. Reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, this is for you, Ted.
Even comedians, whose job is to challenge boundaries and make us laugh at life's absurdities, haven't escaped cancel culture's grip. The so-called woke mob, always hungry for outrage, has targeted some of the biggest names in comedy. Dave Chappelle was dragged through the mud just for joking about sensitive topics. Kevin Hart lost his chance to host the Oscars over decade-old tweets he'd already apologized for. Joe Rogan was attacked for having open conversations on his podcast that didn't fit the approved narrative. And even Rob Schneider, known for his light-hearted humor, wasn't safe from their criticism. It's crazy when you think about it. Comedy has always been about questioning norms and exposing hypocrisy. Yet today, a single off-script joke can be treated like a crime. The irony is hard to miss. The people who built their careers on free speech are now the first ones being silenced.
When movie lovers get together these days, one phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder. which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will have your cojones.
Ma didn't hold back when he called out Hollywood's fear of the woke mob. He reminded celebrities that standing up for themselves isn't career suicide. Too many stars live terrified of online backlash, convinced that one trending hashtag will destroy everything they've worked for. But as Ma put it, that's just not reality. At worst, you'll deal with a few days of mindless Twitter outrage before the mob moves on to its next victim. Careers don't end because of a few angry comments. They end when people surrender to fear. The real danger isn't criticism, it's silence. Ma's message was simple but powerful. Stop apologizing for having common sense, stop begging for approval, and stop letting fear control what you say. In the end, audiences don't admire submission, they admire courage. And in Hollywood, courage is the
2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here.
Hollywood celebrities are probably the last people anyone should ever look to for real advice. They're not philosophers or thinkers, they're entertainers. Their entire world revolves around applause and approval. Their opinions shift with public mood, their values change with the trends, and their convictions vanish the moment they threaten ticket sales or streaming numbers. These are people who've mastered the art of pandering, carefully crafting an image to stay loved, relevant, and uncontroversial. And when the woke mob comes knocking, most of them fold instantly, offering hollow apologies just to keep their spotlight. You'll rarely find a single principle they're willing to defend, let alone a hill they'd actually die on. Their moral compass doesn't point toward truth, it points toward fame. Ma's takedown of Hollywood and the woke mob wasn't just comedy, it was a much-needed reality check. He reminded everyone that cancel culture only has as much power as we allow it to. Trader Joe's proved that standing firm works. Comedians like Dave Chappelle showed that laughter can't be silenced. And voices like Martha Pollock demonstrated that courage still exists in academia. Sure, Hollywood elites may posture and pander, but real influence comes from those who stand their ground. Ma's message couldn't be clearer. Stop bowing to empty outrage and start defending common sense. In today's world, defiance isn't dangerous, it's necessary. And that's where we'll leave it for today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.